Welcome to Smalltalk episode 47. This is the Smallville retrospective rewatch podcast. I'm one third of your co-host. My name is Ryan Cam. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This week, we've got one really good episode. One that's kind of there. It involves Red Clark, which is just my favorite version of Clark, as you all know. And then Trespass, which just is like bottom of the barrel. Like it's pretty much make like bottom of the barrel's compliment, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. First up, I have to introduce my co-host from 3D Movie Cinema. It is Jacob Collins.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for having me on. I know I'm a special guest star this week, and I know that usually it's you and Matt that do this every week, and I think just I'm so glad that you had me this week.
And of course, joining me, who is the lucky duck this week. He has seen Deadpool and Wolverine before either of us. It's Matt Wyatt. Matt, how you doing?
Well, you got to do see it early as possible because people on social media will spoil the shit out of it, and it's going to be hard to avoid it. So yeah, I'm the lucky guy who saw it early. So yeah, by the time you watch this video when it comes out on Tuesday, you'll see my non-spoiler review, and we'll be doing a spoiler discussion of this Sunday, not too far. So yeah, I'm definitely excited to get into the one episode Labyrinth, which is a better episode of the three. The two episodes, I'm not gonna the Crimson and the Labyrinth. I'm not gonna be too crazy about talking about those episodes because those were mediocre.
By the time this episode airs, that stream will have in fact happened. Thank you all retroactively for watching it. It's going to be quite the time. Let us, without any further ado, let us get into talking about some Smallville. And again, thank you so much for those that watched the stream on Sunday. It has not happened yet, but I imagine it was a lot of fun. Let us begin with season 6, episode 12, called Labyrinth. No, not the David Bowie movie.
When the human mind is faced with tremendous emotional pain, you've taken bits and pieces from your surroundings and created an alternate universe where you feel safe and secure.
I don't belong in here!
You can't give in, Kal-El.
Smallville, all new episode next Thursday on the new CW.
Clark enters a parallel environment in his subconscious where he is powerless, no one believes the truth about him, and things have turned out much differently. We could pretty much rename this episode One Flew Over the Clark's Nest because that is exactly what this episode is.
I was literally gonna bring that up. Thank you for beating me to it. But yeah, this definitely felt like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. But also this Clark making everyone think that he's crazy. This is the reverse role from Michael Rosenbaum when he got like manipulated by Lionel and completely orchestrating and messing with his mind and making everyone think he's crazy. This was completely reverse. Now this is happening with Clark.
We already got one Asylum episode in this series for Lex, so it's high time that the reverse happens for Clark. But Jacob, what did you think of the episode?
It feels like Miller and Goff really their blockbuster haul this week was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and then they were also what was the second episode again? Love Potion #9. And then the last one was like Single White Female, or what was that stalker movie? Valentine with David Borealis. So it feels like one of those three movies were their blockbuster all this week. Like, all right, we got One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Love Potion #9, and Valentine. Let's go. Let's make some episodes. And like there's only one of the
lest we forget about The Shining, especially at the end of the Trespass episode.
Like this episode, I really like. There's one thing I like about this episode is that villain, this Phantom, waited. He waited. He tracked Clark down, waited for the right moment to attack him, and then gaslighted Clark into like thinking like he was not Superman. He was just like, oh, there's not all this. And Clark he was trying. And the most fucked up thing about this episode is he was trying to possess Clark. Like it was like a demonic possession almost. I mean, like this Phantom was nearly in his brain. And I love how if you watch the episode, the deeper the Phantom gets in Clark, the more Clark's body starts like shutting almost down, like how Clark looks like he's drained
He
where his
looked like he's
eyes are like,
deteriorating.
oh,
He looks like he's
yes,
decomposing. You can tell like he looks like death.
Phantom's getting
Like
in. It's the Phantom's winning.
because that's him winning. Because the more he starts to give in, then the more he starts to give away his vessel. If he gives in to his insanity that he thinks he's crazy. I mean, they did put on a really convincing performance to making him believe that everything he's experienced were not real. That it's all a fantasy that he made up in his mind. You know, this was like before we saw the movie. The movie Glass with M. Night Shyamalan when they put these three characters in and the doctor was gaslighting the three of them and make them believe that it's all a fantasy, that they don't have superpowers and that destiny was all BS.
We all know Christopher Nolan's a Smallville fan. I think M. Night Shyamalan may have been watching some episodes too.
Oh yeah.
He took the Glass and from Smallville. He took the wrong lessons. And my show was like,
it was all for the wrong reasons.
That's
It's
true.
like he took the wrong seasons out of Glass. Like, but you know what? I really liked in this episode. The only thing I really dislike the most about this episode is it never specifies if Martian Man. By the way, we're introduced. I love that we're introduced to the Martian Manhunter in this episode, where Ryan was like, "Who is that black guy with the red eyes? Is it Darkseid?" And I'm like, "No." And like,
I was like,
is
nope.
he Martian Manhunter? Like, we can't tell you now.
We were like, oh shit, he guessed it right. He did guess right. And it turns out that was definitely Martian Manhunter. It's now finally a confirmation. And there was a deleted scene in the special features that you can find on YouTube and you can find in the special features on the Blu-ray disc that they meet up again at the end of the episode that was cut out of the original cut and introduce himself, who he is and where he comes from and what his purpose is, that he's watched over him all these years and he's telling him that no matter what you do, you'll never be human. You need to accept the fact that you're an alien. And I'm not surprised that they had to cut this out of that episode.
Because it makes
because then you're just making him a dick, because then you're telling him that he should not embrace his humanity and he should not care for the humans, that you are the superior and they're the inferior.
When are you going to realize that they're never going to accept you as...
Which Martian Manhunter is kind of a dick in the comics. I mean, he literally he's like he cowered. The reason he's alive is because he ran away from his entire race was wiped out by the
He fled from his own people when his race were about to get like obliterated from Mars, the White Martians.
Yeah, I mean that's so basically I'm like, hey, you're no better than you're no better than anyone else. And like, you know, he's like, I am from Mars. Which the only thing is, this episode never really specifies if the Phantom. I always assumed the Phantom attacked Martian Manhunter, got him first, and that's how he tracked down Clark, and then found Clark, and then tried to take out Clark to possess Clark. But I feel like, but then it also, we never really specified. It could have been like some people could believe, well, the Martian Manhunter had to act because the Phantom was winning, and he was just in Clark's head saying, Clark, you just standing over Clark going, Clark, I am from Mars. I'm trying to help you. But I don't believe that he would just sit there. I feel like he could have got the Phantom out of Clark if like he was just standing over him. I feel like the Phantom attacked him first and had him in the the labyrinth. Then after it got the information, well, okay, Clark Kent is the guy, the alien I'm after, and then it went after Clark Kent, and then of course and then the Martian Manhunter was trying to get out of it. Like, Clark, you have to kill him. If you kill him, then we're both free.
Yeah. I think it's because the moment he gets in, it's a one-way trip. So the only way he can get out himself is Clark to kill the Phantom to regain the consciousness, and that he could save both of them, because he knew that was probably a one-way trip the moment he enters inside his mind, and that he'll be trapped inside along with them.
But I want to take a moment to shout out Phil Morris, who plays the Martian Manhunter here. His list of credits is literally a mile long, like to the point where you have to go onto a second page on IMDb just to see all of them. But more recently, he's been in Doom Patrol. He was the voice of Vandal Savage in the Justice League Doom movie, which is one of my favorite animated movies from the DCAU. And so that's just excellent. His role is brief here, so I think it's important to understand that he's not in the episode as much as you might think, but I thought he was great. This episode just hit me like a ton of bricks. Just the alternate reality of it all. I literally was texting Collins during it. I'm like, is this Bizarro World? And I'm like, no, it wasn't that. At least I don't think so. But it's as close to Bizarro as we'll probably ever get, because Lana is madly in love with Clark to a detriment. We'll touch on this now, might as well, but Lex in the car accident that started this entire series, lost both of his legs and basically makes Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump look like a saint in comparison. And just Rosenbaum, I mean, carrying this show like Atlas with the world on his back in certain occasions. This is as dark as I've ever seen of him. Like he just rolls around that desk and he just I'll find the clip, but clips have been strangely hard to find of this show, but just I can't do it justice.
Like for that moment before he revealed that he was actually like lost his legs and he's in a wheelchair, did you believe that he was trying to trick him? Because Clark still believed that he's being messed with by Lex and that he's responsible. He still doesn't know that this is the Phantom that is messing with his mind and altering his reality and making him think he's crazy. But that performance was so goddamn good, and the way he just like, open your eyes, you son of a bitch. Does this look like a trick to you? And he wished he would have ran his ass over, and that's the moment of his regret from what he told him. I was like, damn, dude. Like you just really fucked.
So,
he holds him responsible because he's the one that caused the accident.
He was going for the Emmy when he's like, "Open your eyes, you crazy son of a bitch."
I'm pretty sure that Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling will bring that up on Talkville at some point.
When he's like,
you see the tears. You can see his tears
coming jail. Out. The only reason, but my father, like, only thing is, I kind of wish we could have saw Lionel because we would have saw.
I know evil. Because he was not in this episode. He was not in this episode for this one. I'm a little surprised. I mean, and also with Martha at the Luther mansion, she is married to Lionel in this reality. I was like, whoa. I think that this was one of those times that the Phantom is messing with his wants and wishes and his fears, like the want for being with Lana and knowing that he never thought he would have in this reality. And then this one, he fears that he still doesn't fully trust Lionel, and he still thinks that he would betray him for the first chance he gets. And he's afraid that he would end up with Martha and they will end up together. That's just something that he would never want that to happen.
And Clark is back in the asylum. He's in the straitjacket, and then the scene on the table. But when the doctor's casually explaining to him like everything that's gone on, shows him the meteor rock, and that in this reality it does not affect Clark. And so it just is like a whole. We obviously know that this whole thing is a facade, but for like a brief little moment, you realize, hey, maybe it's not. And then you like start to question yourself. I'm like, 6.5 seasons. Have I been watching the same show? Like, what is going on?
I was like, hey, were we on crack the whole time? That happened to me one time when I first watched this on TV, you know, and then the way the doctor was convincing them, like, Joel Rell is not your father. And it got it from the name from a fucking hand soap. Then you got the names like Oliver Queen and the mental
Dr.
patients,
Milton
Devine, or Oliver Queen, or Bart Allen and Arthur Curry. Like those mental patients are like, oh my god, like is he actually crazy in this episode?
Phantom Zone is a magazine,
but also the treatment that he kept on nagging him about getting the treatment to make sure he's cured. But the moment that he's going on the procedure, they're drilling the fucking hole into his brain. So that's like. Even when he was still awake, I'm sorry, that procedure would not fly like that. No, that's when you know it had to be bullshit.
They heard the dog, and the fucking dog gave him away.
And then the dog gave it away, and then Lana was vanishing in the thin air.
Yeah, just
oh yeah, I wanted to bring it up before I forget, and that I didn't bring it up before. Chloe is the only one that believes in Clark, the only one out of all of them. That's very rare. That I think that part of his consciousness that gives him his strength, the one that really will always be there for him in ride or die, his consciousness of Chloe is the one who was fighting for his insanity.
And you know, it would have been great if Jimmy Olsen was the janitor that Clark punched.
That would be funny.
Stupid. But it's the fact is that the only time Lex's security team is on point is when is in a fantasy from a Phantom. It's the only time the security's on point. Because they actually caught up with Clark and they actually had shot. Clark's like us, like the fans.
They chased his ass down the fucking snow yard in the woods.
If Lex's real team would have never caught Clark, Clark would have ran, and then they would have been like, "Well, we lost him. Shit.
Fuck.
He'll come back."
but they got after him when he was at the Thailand. They did not just sit there like, "Okay, we lost him."
Yeah, Lex's security team would never do that. Right? They're like, "Well, Luther don't pay us."
Yeah, no, Lex's security team would never do it. If it was in his real world thing.
Security team operating on GTA 5 logic, where if you outrun the cops, your star rating goes down.
Lex's team works if you shoot a cop in the face.
Now that you mention it, that shit is so accurate now. As long as he hides and wait long enough, the fucking 5 stars goes down.
Yeah, it's a joke. By the way, if you look this up, Ryan, it's called Dane Cook, The Game of Life. And he says how Grand Theft Auto is basically the new game of life. And he said, this is what you do in Grand Theft Auto. Shoot a cop in the face, go hide behind an alley with a dumpster for 5 minutes. They'll call it the whole damn search. He's like, the clip does not, watch the clip and then add it into this video because it does not do it justice. That video is so funny. Dane Cook's Game of Life. Oh my God, it's so funny.
Here tonight, shoot a cop in the face. When all the backup comes, tries to find you, just like the game, hide behind a dumpster for 35 seconds. They'll call off the whole goddamn search.
Have you noticed that Clark goes to the same 3 locations? It's only like, okay, Luther Mansion, farm, or the town. And I'm just like,
or the Luther Corp, or the Luther Corp place where Lex was at too. He goes to the places that he knows.
Of course, they're gonna find you.
That's the first place they'll look.
We looked at the farm, you're not there, so obviously.
Apparently, Lana and fucking Aunt Nell fucking bought the farm, the Kent farm.
Another movie that was in the Blockbuster Hall this week, Back to the Future Part 2. It also, all that was missing was a cowboy guy in a cowboy hat hitting Clark in the back of the head, saying like the easy way.
I would say about out of 10 shields, about 8 or 7. 7. No, you know what? 7 is fair. 7 shields.
All right, Matt. What about you?
I'm gonna go higher for an 8 out of 10.
I'm going to go higher than you guys. I'm going to go 9. I love this episode. This hit me like a ton of bricks. And just, there's so much to love here. And like I said, it was the best of the 3, but by a considerable margin, because now we have to, now we got to talk about 2 pretty mediocre episodes, starting off with Season 6, Episode 13, called Crimson.
Next Thursday.
Wow.
Listen to your heart.
Oh my God. I'm in love with Clark Kent.
Do something special. Make it a night no one will ever forget.
Don't marry Lex. Marry me.
Smallville. All new episode next Thursday on the new CW.
Clark once again becomes under the influence of red kryptonite and will say his true feelings on such things as Lionel and Martha's relationship and Lana's pregnancy, but there may be someone else that will get affected by the red K. So basically, Clark has a relapse and basically becomes, Matt, you'll get this reference, Jesse from Breaking Bad, and Lois Lane becomes Jane. If you know, you know.
Yeah. I know.
I will say this though, this episode made me chuckle.
It made me chuckle too. With Lois getting all freaky, acting like a chick now for once when she's under the love potion. Holy shit! I'm not gonna lie. I enjoyed that scene with how she's really showing her feelings for Clark and getting all freaky.
There's a line that made me smile where it says, "Lana's your past, I'm your future," and then he goes, "But this is the present." That was a total sick moment.
That was like a sick burn. You should add that clip from that 70s show when fucking Kelso says, "Burn."
Yeah, because
I did like the red kryptonite Clark again, even though it was kind of so stupid and ridiculous with the love potion episode, but I still enjoyed the red K Clark again.
Oh yeah, Ryan said that's his favorite Clark is red K Clark.
No,
this one he goes a lot overboard, especially when he just literally kidnapped Lana in the middle of a dinner.
By the way, how would the fuck that work? By the way, he would be facing charges for kidnapping.
I'm surprised he didn't call the cops.
At the very end of the episode, when Clark is like, I can't believe I did all of those things last night, and I'm just like, yes, Clark, what things did you do last night? I want to know.
Yeah, first you kidnapped Lex's fiance, then you try to commit murder, but then you literally try to commit murder.
Clark's saying to Lex, if I had known, if I would have known what you were going to turn out to be, I never would have saved you. on that bridge.
Dude, that was so
hit me like
dark.
a pile of bricks. Like,
But
oh.
also that I guess that's really what he was feeling deep down inside. I mean, even Martha called him out on it. Like, hey, even the time you had Red Kryptonite, there's a lot of feelings that you kept on bottling up that you need to be more honest with what you really feel.
Although it really made me laugh though whenever Lois gets possessed, like Lois gets the love potion number 9, and then she goes to like Clark and gives him a mixtape, and then she says, "Okay, why don't you put it in?" And then he hauls ass. He's like,
He just like dips right out the door. I was like, "Damn, Clark."
I was like, it makes no sense later because he shows Chloe the CD. I'm like, how the fuck did he get the CD? He literally, we saw him run his ass down the road. When did he go back to? Oh shit, I gotta get the CD to show Chloe.
Did he really put the CD down? Did he? Oh, did he give her the CD?
Yes, he gave Chloe.
Yeah,
the
he
CD.
did. I could have sworn. Yeah, you're right. He did give her the CD.
And then
like, where the hell did you get it?
Until he showed her tit, until she pulled out her tit and said, "Look, it says Lois and Clark forever." And
I'm surprised she didn't really get the real tattoo, and it would be stuck there forever. Yeah, it will be there forever.
I was gonna say when I saw that, I said to myself, "Hope that's temporary."
That would have been funny if it actually was a real tattoo. Then she would be stuck with it.
Like I love that Clark super speeds. Yeah, outright Clark. I love Red K Clark, and I like that Lois and Clark wearing leather jackets. And like
yeah,
how
whenever you switch on the Red K, he always switches.
He has a thing for leather. He's like
he likes to look like the bad boy, the obvious bad boy appearance.
And then Lois dresses up with him, like it's like what are they fucking Grease now or something? Like we're bikers now. I would have been shocked if Clark had a Harley.
he might as well. I mean, he might as well try out for the Grease 3 movie.
Also, there's no way Clark would have saw that invitation. Like when he's like about to bang Lois, and then he looks over.
And also, yeah, but where did the invitation came from? I mean, it came from Oliver's office. But also, Oliver is way off around the world. So how the fuck did he get the invitation to get the invite from Lex's party?
It feels like they were just trying to somehow figure out how to like.
They got to find a way to have him crash the party and find a way to do it somehow. I thought that was kind of a little lazy to me.
I do like that Lex showing Lana the baby room. You know, it kind of made me like, you know what, good. I mean, like, even though I have issue right now with Lex, the way he's like an asshole to Clark, and he's just like that, like Lex, he's on the verge of becoming the evil Lex. You know, I do like that. You know, like he deserves happiness because he's like, you know, he's gonna be a dad, and he's got Lana. But then the only thing I was happy for him until Clark said one thing, and that kind of like, you're right, Clark, you are, where he says, Lex does not love you. He just wants you because I can't. So that he wants you because
he wants everything he has. He wants to have his life. He wants to have the loyal girlfriend that, as he mentioned, that he was right because, and even Clark called him out on it in front of Lana. Like, no, he told me himself. He's always wanted everything I ever had, and you are the top of his list. You're nothing but a trophy to him.
Which is true. Which is 100%.
It's true. I mean, he's not wrong.
I was happy for Lex when I saw the baby shower room. I was happy until Clark said that. Then I was like,
congratulations on sealing the deal. Congratulations on sealing the deal to baby Luther. The real reason that Lana's marrying you.
By the way, when my niece was
like
born,
that was a total burn mic drop moment for Clark. How many mic drops that he kept on doing as a Red K? Jesus
Red
Christ.
K Clark is like a mic dropper. He's like, I can drop. He was dropping. Red Clark should have went to like an 8-mile like rap battle, and then Red Clark would have been like, literally. He
should have done the rap battle, the 8-mile rap battle. He probably
would have won. I may be white, but I'm trust me, I'm tight. You know what? I can make a rhyme anytime. You know, he's like, he said, my name may be Clark, but I got some bark. You know, that's what he's gonna be like. Clark's gonna be literally just like, man, that white boy got some rhymes on him. It's like, you know, and Lois.
But also Clark called everyone he knows out in the dinner, like with Martha, Chloe. Oh my God. He was about to hit on Chloe. He's like, you can't say I haven't thought about it. You were just waiting for Alana to be out of the picture.
I was I would like that Chloe. It wasn't like the season 2 Chloe. Chloe's like, I'm with Jimmy now. Like, what are you doing? Like, no, go away from me.
Yeah, so like she didn't do that. Nope.
Oh, season 2, Chloe would be like,
oh, Chloe would be, she would be all over that. Like, this is not the same Chloe that you saw in season 2. Like, she's not the same person that we saw years ago.
She got that
like
awesome.
Even though that she laid out on Clark in the season 5 finale, like that because it was a life and death situation and it would be the last time. But then that really just got brushed away from it after that.
She got her a little Jimmy now.
But Jimmy got, the one thing I did not like was when Jimmy got a little jealous. The whole jealous.
I thought that was stupid.
I was like, really? Why are you still assuming that she still wants to be with Clark when she's all over you and is all about ride or die? But apparently you just keep being the jealous boyfriend.
Oh,
I hated that.
There's some shit in season 7 that pisses me off, and I thought this was this moment, and I'm like, no, that's next season. That pisses me off even more.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
When they play that song, because I don't know.
Oh yeah, that was so on the nose. Like, really?
That's your
song choice?
Pisses me off. This scene,
every breakup we hear, they always play the sad song, and it's so on the nose when every time the characters break up.
I'm like, look, Jimmy, we already had we already have Lana, Lex, and Clark's bullshit to deal with the love triangle. We don't need you and Chloe to be in this, enter the game of love triangles too. Okay, please exit the game. No one wants that.
It might as well be you get a love triangle, you get a love triangle,
you get a love story. That's
bullshit.
Everybody.
Bullshit.
We got Lois and Oliver last week. This week's Jimmy and Chloe. Next week's going to be Martha and Lionel. Let's see. It's all love triangles, everyone.
It's bad enough that the Clark, Lex, and Lana love triangle has died and resurrected more times than Jason Voorhees. Now it's like we just got way too many of these now, and it gets worse in the next episode, folks, if you can believe it. But it just
there's another fucking love triangle. Another one.
I think
another one.
This is literally like
another
more.
One.
This is literally the network's.
They throw another one at you. Another one. A fucking another one. Why? Rod Miller and Goff? What the fuck's the matter with you? Another one. I feel like I'm crazy now because they keep throwing shit at you. Like, wait, you thought we had a 3-way love triangle. Here's a motherfucking 4th one for you. Yeah, 4 love triangles now. Okay.
The assassination of Jake Collins' sanity by the cowards Arthur Miller and Miles Goff.
I think it might have been something to do with this might have something to do with the whole network wanting to force this bullshit love story with the CW shit. Because even Al Goff, Miles Miller said, like, if we were to do this today, we wouldn't be doing this shit like this.
They said that too, and I'm like, yes, because no one wants a fucking love triangle. Like, seriously, because
the network is like, hey, the audience want it, we'll give them it. Like, no, we don't want that.
Now, I will say there are some shows that have done love triangles good. Like The Walking Dead did a love triangle good.
Oh yeah, they
Which,
did.
by the way, if you try to explain, you said, wait a minute, there's a zombie show, there's a love triangle in a zombie show. Is it it's a human with a zombie? No, I fucking know it's not. I had to explain that one time.
It's not Warm Bodies.
No. But anyway, this show, it pisses me off, but we'll talk about that next episode. But yeah, this episode, I just feel like it feels like this season should have just been called Love Triangle.
Yeah.
It might as well be.
Yeah. There's like 10 fucking love stories in this season.
We do in fact need to get to Trespass, unfortunately. So
wait.
Let's get the Trespass and rip the Band-Aid off.
But let's get the ratings for Crimson first.
Also, it'd be really, it'd been really funny if Clark would have put on the lipstick just to get possessed. And also, in this episode, there's a mistake in this episode, by the way. There is a mistake in Crimson because literally he's making out with Lois in that office, and then she got lipstick smeared on her face. And then the next shot, I'll send you a picture. And the next shot, it's gone. And I'm like, well, there's continuity issue right there.
Yeah. I've noticed it. I know that she was not wearing her lipstick after that he got the lipstick.
Also, Clark says Justin Hartley's name by accident instead of saying
which
Hartley,
scene was it? What scene did he say it? I can't remember.
When they're in the office and she has the smeared lipstick, he says he's supposed to say Hartley and he says Hartley. And I'm like,
I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna rewatch.
They're like, he said Justin Hartley. He said Hartley.
I'm gonna rewatch that episode again. I'm gonna catch that scene.
It's the scene where they're in the office, and then like she goes because after she kisses Clark and he gets the red K eyes, they go in that office and he throws her off and they start making out, and then you see her with the smeared lipstick on her face, and then he says something, he says Hartley, and then it's gone, and I'm just like, I was like,
Oh,
there
God.
goes 2 mistakes in this scene. You could tell the director was probably doing a bump of coke. I was like, or it was busy, or like he's on his phone. He's like, oh shit. And
I mean
nobody will
that
catch.
that reminded me in the first Star Wars movie when Luke Skywalker got out of the TIE fighter after the destroying the Death Star. He came up to Carrie Fisher, Leia, and he accidentally yelled out Carrie out loud. If you paid attention, he said Carrie out loud and fucked it
I
up.
mean, that happens, but you know what? If you watch Boogie Nights, William H. Macy gets a line wrong, and people now it's like it's famous movie, and people always say the line right, but it's wrong. You remember the scene? You've seen Boogie Nights, right? Both of y'all have seen Boogie Nights.
I have
Yes.
not.
All right, so you remember the scene where the guy William H. Macy's wife's a porn star, and she's having
Uh-huh.
sex in the driveway, and like 3 guys and a bunch of people in her group watching her have sex in the driveway.
Uh-huh.
And then people are like, "Man, she's a lucky woman." And then William H. Macy goes, "That's my wife." And then like then the porn producers come like, say, "Hey, we need to go shoot the scene in a few minutes." And he goes, "I don't have time for this. My wife's got her cock in some guy's ass, and so I just really having this." And the line is, "I don't have time for this. My wife's got some guy's cock in her ass." But the William H. Macy delivers it and says, "I don't have time for this. My wife's got her cock in some guy's ass." Wait, that's not the line. He's like, "She has a cock." I'm like, no. He's like, he's supposed to say, "I don't have time for this. My wife's got some guy's cock in her ass." And instead, William H. Macy delivered this line and said, "I don't have time for this. My wife's got her cock in some guy's ass." And so, if you watch that movie, that's the line he says, and you're just like, "Wait a minute, wait, she's got a wait a minute." Like, did he just say his wife's got her cock? His wife's got a cock. But yeah, go watch that movie. You'll find out that scene. You're like, that's a mistake that William H. Macy just. But he's so committed to that scene, you just forget that he said the line wrong.
It also has one of my favorite opening sequences in a movie ever, soundtrack to Best of My Love by The Emotions, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother time.
Yep.
But
And Mark Wahlberg, the last shot of the movie is Mark Wahlberg's dick.
yes, it
The
is.
last shot of the movie is Mark Wahlberg's dick. By the way, but I'm just gonna tell you, Matt, if you ever watch the movie, when Mark Wahlberg starts to unzip his pants, just turn the movie off. You've not missed anything. The only thing you're gonna see is like a 50-inch dick. And it's not even real either. It's like a rubber penis that Greg Nicotero made and he still has it, he says, for the movie. I'm like, that's gonna be awkward. Greg Nicotero's auctioning stuff off, and he goes, "I got Mark Wahlberg's penis from Boogie Nights."
Coming soon to the channel, the Smalltalk crew watches Boogie Nights, because I love to see Matt's reaction to
There's a scene in that movie that sits there with Alfred Molina with the fireworks. That scene just sits there for like 20 minutes. You're just like, it's more unsettling every time. The fireworks scene, it's like, it's unsettling.
But Jacob,
But,
Crimson, ratings, go.
Okay. I would say it's about a 7.5. No, I would say it's about 6.5, 7. So I would say 7. Yeah.
All right, Matt, what about you?
I'm gonna give it a 6. It's an okay episode.
I'll match you, Matt, and I'll go 6 as well. It's Love Triangle City. Like the red case stuff didn't bother me like it's done in other times, but here it was just here it at least was like Clark was a dick in an entertaining way, like Jacob so eloquently put it. But now we got to get to the basement tonight. We got to talk about Season 6, Episode 14, called A Trespass.
She's been orbiting your secret for years.
Why are you still watching over me?
Maybe for the same reason you've been watching me.
Smallville, all new episode next Thursday on the new CW.
After receiving a photo of herself dressing in her room, Lana realizes she has a stalker. After hiding out in Chloe's apartment above the Talon, Lana decides to hide out at another surprising location, the Kent farm, so Lana can try to find out more about Clark as she grows more suspicious of his abilities. Meanwhile, Jimmy helps Clark to find Lana's stalker, in which he eventually breaks up with Chloe because he believes she truly isn't over Clark, forcing Chloe to take a deep look at her feelings for her best friend. So, Before we dive into the love triangle stuff, I forgot to bring up in talking about Crimson at the very end, the last shot of the episode. Lana has a very interesting thing in her dresser drawer, and it looks like something out of a Saw movie. I don't exactly know how to describe it, but it just looks so unsettling to me.
It looks
And
like
at
an
the
ice.
It's supposed to be a chiseled. It's supposed to be a chisel that she grabbed, that the one that Lex stabbed him, Clark with, and she saw that it got bent and it didn't even leave a scratch on him, and she kept it within her in the drawer.
But yeah, this episode was a chore. It really was.
We had a stalker in this episode, and when I already know we're jumping way too ahead, but the reveal was so anticlimactic. Like,
Oh
really?
dear God, yeah.
Who
like, seriously?
Who do you think it was gonna be? Lex hiring
No,
us?
I mean, it could just be, I don't know. It's like,
Who do you think it was gonna be? There's like two
yeah,
people.
but it was kind of stupid. But it was kind of stupid. The guard's motivation for stalking her in the first
What do
place.
you expect? There's gonna be Jimmy Olsen?
No.
Oh dear, no.
What? It sounds like you defend this episode.
No, I'm just saying. Who the fuck did you think it was gonna be?
Yeah, but it was
Like,
kind of a stupid motive. The whole
Lana,
situation in the first place.
You know what it is, Matt? It's like remember in season 1 where Lana gets like premonitions and and then like a cop kidnaps Chloe and buries her just so he could save her and be a hero cop and get a promotion. And then like Lana, but Lana.
It's definitely the 2.0 episode.
That was basically this episode, but a much.
He wants to prove to be a hero, but he also wants to save Lana's soul for whatever dumb reason. Like, dude, you hardly know this chick. Like, what the fuck? You're not even close to her. You're just a guard. You're a security guard.
Paparazzi to stalk her, and so he could kill the paparazzi. And I'm just like, oh my god. It just there's a lot of notes I wrote on this episode that just made me go fuck you to this episode. Like first, all right, like there's one thing, okay. All right, first off, Lex just I do like that Lex was telling his team to search the grounds. I mean, I thought that was pretty cool with it, search the grounds. And I like how this episode finally addresses how bad Lex security's team is. Like it finally addresses the elephant in the room. Like, yeah, your security team sucks ass.
It's proven that he has the worst security teams, literally, not figuratively.
It took
They're
6
so
and a half
incompetent
seasons,
douche.
but they acknowledged it.
And it's kind of, and it's just kind of funny that he wants to go through all that trouble and not just be a hero, but he wants to save Lana. Like, Lex is affecting you, poisoning your mind. Like, why do you care so much? You don't even know her that well. You're not that attached. I thought it might be expected to see that Lex had some enemies and that would make a little bit more sense. But the security guard, his motives were kind of dumb. I didn't like it.
Would have been made more sense if it was someone who has a vendetta against Lex and he's like,
yeah, if he had a vendetta against Lex or something. And that I think that because we all know that Lex had made so many enemies. Like we already know that he already has so many baggage in his life that he's dragging Lana in the mud for.
Would you have been happy if it was like a rogue paparazzi guy who wanted like to get the big scoop? And so he says, I'm going to create a stalker for Lana Luthor. And then he says, but I have to kill you now. And so whenever he says, I'm going to frame Clark Kent for murder.
And it's kind of funny that she goes to the Kent farm as a safe little place, but also her going to the Kent farm, they thought that would not be the first place she looks. Like, you do know they can dig up your fucking like records, and you know you had your relation with Clark, so you think they're not going to, you think the stalker's not going to be the first place that they will go to? I mean, like, that was
he hires somebody.
I think that was literally her excuse to go into Clark's room and search for anything that she can dig up on, because that's literally what she was doing.
Like a stalker too. She doesn't just like digging.
She literally was, and even Jimmy pulled out the fucking photos. Like, yeah, Lana's clearly stalking you. She's taking photos on your farm, on your barn, dude.
Also, there's thing I had an issue with. Also, the thing I had an issue with, like, what the fuck? Okay, like, so basically, this guy, the Brady or whatever his name is, he brings a gift in there where paparazzi. How the hell did they not see him with the gift? You know, where there's paparazzi and the security team everywhere. He's able to sneak a gift present in for Lana. Wouldn't Lex's team search fingerprints and say, hey, yeah, there's a, like, I mean, I would make sense if he would grab the packages, but instead, like, the other security guy grabbed it. So it's like, it makes no sense. Also, how would he kills the freaking other guy, slits his throat. Your freaking hands prints all over that stuff now, buddy. Like, they know your prints. Also, why wouldn't he finish? Where was Martha Kent this whole time? And wouldn't he want to finish her off there, or wouldn't he want to like confront Lana there. I mean, this is like Scream. You got to finish him at the house. Why would you drag this on and make a bigger ordeal? Because you killed a security guy. I mean, like, I just don't understand this logic in this episode. It feels like they're like, oh, wait, you thought it was over at the Kent house. Wait until you get to the hospital. And then we go back to the Luther mansion. And I'm like, why do we drag this shit out? I would have said, all right, look, since we're doing the Scream thing, let's let it go to like the Kent farm, and then they go in the barn, and then of course, no, instead it's like, oh, the security guy's like, oh, I'm gonna bring a stalker into the hospital, then I'm gonna kill him at the hospital.
But also, why would you go back to the mansion again? Why?
It makes no sense.
Is there no safe? Do you not have a safe house or something that Lex has? And also, what the fuck was Lex? Where was he? You're supposed to be protecting your fiance.
Wouldn't Luther Court be the best chance?
Maybe, but then again, like that, you're going to the same place where they can easily find you.
Why didn't Lana just go into the room behind the painting that's a safe room / underground bunker / door to the Phantom Zone, depending on the episode?
Forgot about that, Matt.
Where's your panic room, bro?
The writers of that episode forgot about it.
Because the script said so.
Which, by the way, well, how the fuck did they get up on the roof?
Beats me.
And then, like, the guy falls to his death. I'm like, I've seen people fall in this episode that high of a distance. He would be unconscious, and he would get up, and he would be like,
get stabbed by a bunch of shard. But did he get stabbed by a shard of glass?
You guys
the glass shattered, and he probably got stabbed with a shard of glass or something.
You guys have seen Fast Five, right?
Yes. I've seen all of them, unfortunately.
So, do you remember the scene where Brian and what's Dom's sister's name? Not Mia. Her. Where Brian and Mia are running away from the Rocks guys, and they fall through that tin roof. They jump off the roof and fall through that other tin roof. When like Mia is pregnant at the time, I'm like, well, if she's not seriously hurt from that, then nothing can kill. Then like take her out now. Lana in this freaking episode falls down some stairs.
Not to interject, but you got to remember, Fast and Furious, no one really dies in this movie.
I
Lost
know
statistics of their injury doesn't apply to them.
Ryan,
they went to fucking space with a duct tape in the fucking car up in the space.
The Rock punches a
rocket missile out of the car.
The Rock punches a missile in the 8th film.
He throws a fucking torpedo with his bare hands.
I know, I am aware. The point I'm trying to get at is
but I get your point because Lana's pregnant and it would affect the baby.
Yeah,
that's what you're trying to say.
Falls down some stairs, goes into that room full of those things that like help people walk around, like those the things on wheels. She falls on those, and then she falls through a glass encasement on the roof. Like, how is she okay from that?
Yeah, magic. It's magic, dude. Because the script says. Because the writing says.
Only has like 2 or 3 scenes in this episode. One is where Lex is like at the tells his security team, he says, why am I seeing my wife on, he says, TV? And he says, next thing you know, he says, you better put a bullet in there. And I'm like, okay, Bert, you started off strong, Michael, but then I feel like you were doing so good, and then you'd be like, it sounds like you were just reading off cue cards on this part, where he's like, I'll put a bullet in your head. I'm like, all right, come on. That's Mike. As long as I felt like Mike Resbaum, I would have said, let's do another take, because that wasn't a good.
A little bit overacted.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I think I think this director didn't even give a shit about.
It was a poorly directed episode, and also Clark came out of nowhere and saved Lana. He's like, what the fuck?
Clark has nothing to do in this episode at all.
Nothing.
In fact, I thought this was the episode where he fought Dave Bautista. I'm like, oh, Clark's not in this episode because he's not dealing with Dave Bautista. No, he's just there. Like, literally, I'm like, did Tom Welling go on vacation this week or something? And they're like, oh, we got to have Superman in this episode. Oh, okay, well, Clark goes and does some investigation for the stalker and then saves Lana at the end.
Like, Clark, stand here. Lana, fall, catch. Be like, how did you do that? And I'm like,
I think she already suspects that there's something off, that there's something special about Clark because of the fucking chisel that is so bent. She knows that there's something special about him, and that's why.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why
all
she's
mad.
not. That's why she's not questioning as much.
I'm just saying, like, my issue with this is like there's another love triangle where he's like, I really love you, Lana, and I'm like, oh fuck me.
What
For
is with this
fuck's
Lana
sake.
drama? God, you're dragging that shit out. Like, can we move on from
Whoever's
this?
writing this episode, you need to burn in hell because literally this is awful writing, okay? Like if I was reading
That's why I was so upset about season 6, where kind of the episodes they keep relying more on the love drama with Lex and Lana and all that other shit. That like,
I'm
come
gonna
on,
find out who wrote this episode.
I rather like let's get back to the Phantoms. Let's get back to that 33.1 events. Like, let's get back
Yeah,
to that.
that's the thing I wanted to point out. We have not spent nearly enough time talking about those Phantom Zone
But
people.
dude, try watching that fucking weekly on the TV during its run. That would have been more torture for you from your point of view because that's what I had to suffer.
Like
What we
those
had to suffer for Jake and I, that we watched it during its show run, I
like
believe.
Fucking
those
awful.
diet ass Dementors are running around wrecking shop, and Clark's like, Lana, I have always loved you,
I
but
love you.
now
Come back to me. I
I
want to touch you.
but they're
It's
like
sad.
reenacting fucking scenes from the Notebook or
It's like, dude,
something.
like, don't you think? Why are you not? Why are you sitting on your ass that there's Phantom roaming around the fucking world getting killed, and you're worrying about your bullshit love life? Like, come on,
Like,
pull your head out
do
of your
your
ass.
job, man.
This episode was written by
You have one job. One job.
this episode was written by some lady. I've never even heard of her. And I'm like, I don't honestly, I'm sure she probably has wrote for I honestly think this might have been written by the assistant or something because you could tell like everybody else was writing bigger episodes, like Kelly Sanders and Brian Patterson writing a bigger episode. Todd Sullivan and Darren Swimmer writing a bigger episodes. But like this episode,
but also it's a 22 or 23 episodes that they had to fucking like
nobody wrote this
shoehorn
episode.
in. Especially, but you're also making Clark more of an arrogant, whiny little prick that you're avoiding the dangers that it's going on that you're supposed to be doing right now, and you're focusing on this bullshit love life with Lana and with Lex. Like, worry about that shit later.
I'm trying to find like if this lady wrote another episode. I'm like, no, it seems like this might have been her only episode she wrote. They probably read the episode like, this is a piece of shit episode. Well, it's probably Miller and Goff probably read it. Al probably was like, this is a piece of shit episode. And then Miles like, well,
just wait and see. Just wait and see what Michael Rosenbaum and Tom Welling will say on Talkville at some point. They're gonna rip those episodes apart in season 6.
I will say on record right here and now, for me that I have not seen the Promise episode. I have been reliably informed it's the worst of the season.
It's not the worst. I mean, no, that episode's Citizen Kane compared to this episode.
Oh God. I just some insight. The other night I was recording Deadpool 2 review with Collins, and I said to him, "You want to do the Promise episode watch along style?" And he said no so many times it broke my internet. Okay, I slightly exaggerated on that part, but he said like no wholeheartedly, and then shout out to Aaron White, like we were joking back and forth. This is probably Aaron White's favorite episode.
You're probably like Tracy Morgan from Cop Out, like no.
You know, no. On the show named Tracy Belmo, there's Tracy A. Belmo and Tracy Belmo. Like episode 2 was written by Tracy Belmo, and then the episode we hate is written by Tracy A. Belmo. It's probably they made sure whoever wrote this was Tracy. Tracy Belmo's like, I didn't write this episode. Make sure you tell them it's this lady. And Tracy A. Belmo wrote this episode. Just so you know, like Tracy Belmo's like, hey, I can write, okay? I didn't fucking write this episode. They made sure to put the A in front of there because you're like, oh, Tracy Belmo's like, I want to get work later. Make sure you tell them Tracy A wrote this. I didn't write this. Tracy A's like, can I work on season 7? They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. We're already booked up with writers. I'm so sorry, Tracy A. But you can go get some coffee. You know?
Or one of them just pulled an Alan Smithy and just said, just take my name off. They're like, but Alan Smithy's taken. Just use the name of the last writer.
Jane Goldsmith.
yeah, that.
But
But
also in this episode, now that Jimmy had resolved this whole relationship with Chloe, which that was so quickly, that was so damn quick, which it shouldn't have happened in the first place.
I don't know. I'm just I'm just agitated because this episode is just like there's so many fucking love triangles. And then they set this shit up. Like, oh, we're gonna break Lana and Chloe and Jimmy up. Then they put them back to fucking together.
Like, wow. Like,
what the fuck was the last episode for?
That last episode was so pointless. Like, what the hell are we doing?
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Like, what the fuck? Okay.
I feel like the writers were taking stupid pills.
I would literally look. I'm not an asshole. I am not an asshole. But if I was reading this, I would be like, "This is shit, like garbage." Like I literally have taken shits that are better than this episode, and I'm just saying, can we think of something better? I mean, like literally, you guys are like really good writers, and like they're like, "We did not write this. This lady over here wrote this," and I'm like, "Do we have any writers this week that are available to write something?" I mean, we can't think of something else, like anything. What about if Clark chasing down a zoner and it kidnaps his mom or his mom's a zoner or something?
That would have been more. That would have added a lot of the stakes too. And also, you would have given
possessed by a phantom and she's on a killing spree.
But also, you hardly see Martha in this show, in this season. She's hardly on screen that much.
I know. She said she hated the season because they gave her nothing to do.
I don't blame her. I don't blame her for that. I'm pretty sure that if they ever bring Anna T. O'Toole back on Talkville, I'm pretty sure she's going to talk about what
she
went
said
on.
That. That's one reason why.
Wait, did she mention it?
Yeah, Michael Resman, not for Talkville, but for whenever he interviewed her.
Oh, okay.
She said, I hated season 6 because they gave me nothing to do. And I'm like,
and also this was like the last, this was like the last season on her contract too. And for as far as we know.
Let's bury this episode in a shallow grave. Jacob, 1 to 10.
0.5.
Okay. Matt, what about you?
1.
All right, I'm giving it a 1 as well. This was a big old chore and just yeah, like
I'd be the worst rated episode of Smallville we've ever done. Even the Reaper episode is
I'm like Dwayne Johnson in the clip, you know, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I ever
It's the biggest piece of dog shit I have ever seen.
I've ever seen.
Same level for me as
big fresh baby shit.
It's the same level for me as that fucking cop's name.
Phelan.
Who?
Phelan.
Him. Phelan's first.
Imagine, Ryan, would you have loved this episode if Phelan was the stalker, was alive, and he was the stalker that was stalking Lana to draw out Clark?
Now, don't you start.
He's like, it is me.
It is me, Mr. Kent.
I'm stalking Lana. You
I'm fucking stalking Lana.
I've been stalking you, you see.
Clark, are you gonna stop me now? Because
are you gonna stop me now?
Stalking her.
Do that Nick Cage like.
My favorite thing, I swear to this day.
That would be the major plot twist, the most ridiculous plot twist in any TV show history. He fucking resurrects
Ryan would lose his shit if that was the twat. Oh my god. Phelan came back.
If he came back and does the same shit and fucking messing with Clark's life.
If Phelan appeared in this episode, I've been like, well, Smalltalk is canceled. It's canceled. The show's over. Like, in the words of the All-American Rejects, it ends tonight.
I will say, next 3 episodes are way better.
The music.
You might like the next 3 episodes. I think you're gonna like Promise. Even though I didn't like it. You might not like it. You might like it. I will say you're gonna like Combat though.
Combat is the best of the 3 that I cannot wait till we cover that one.
Combat, because a famous WWE superstar is in that episode.
Kane
himself.
He's the brother of the Undertaker.
Oh, the mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. Very nice.
But you also got another WWE star too. The second one in Combat.
Who is it?
What was her name?
She's dead now, but she
passed away.
I was Googling her. I'm like, ooh, she's the hottie. Who's she? And then I'm like, oh.
Ashley Massaro. Ashley Massaro.
Oh, God. Oh, she. Oh
Yeah, she's
man,
in this episode.
rest in peace to her. Her story
Oh
is
yeah.
genuinely like awful, but that's a
It's
whole other story for a whole another time. I'll tell you guys off air if you don't know it. But
no, you tell me. By the way, before we stop, I just want to say before we get on a tragic note, he tells a tragic story. I just want to tell you something funny. Every time Ryan, we mentioned Phelan, and Ryan, I said, the vampire episode, and I said, Ryan, I said, what would happen? We were all dogging on the vampire episode, Ryan, because Ryan loved it. And I told Ryan, what would you say if Phelan came back from the dead as the vampire king? And then Ryan's like, oh God. And then Ryan does the like, it is, I am back.
It'd be like the vampire. He would do a Nick Cage impersonation of the vampire
Ryan
movie.
did the Phelan impression. I almost pissed my pants laughing. Like when he's like, I am back from the dead.
I think Ryan would probably punch himself in the dick many times before he even sees Balin come back from the show.
I would be like I'd be like Ed Norton in Fight Club, just like just uppercut me over the chest.
Just uppercut and beating yourself to death. Or you'd be like from Liar Liar with Jim Carrey, where he beat himself up in the bathroom.
But pass it off to all of you. What did you think of these three? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Next week, we will be talking about the episodes Freak, Promise, and Combat, so that is on the docket. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you to these guys. It's a privilege to do this show with them every single week. Jacob, what do you got coming up?
I'm dick docking right now, see? It's called dick docking, is what Deadpool says.
Now,
why y'all scissoring each other? Now they're all doing this.
That's what Deadpool did to Colossus. Remember that?
That's like literally like that's not dick docking. This is scissor.
Yeah, this is scissoring. That he did the scissoring.
We're like in South Park when Mr. Garrison tried to scissor the guy from 300, Xerxes. Like in that, remember that they have the gay bar and they're getting in war with the Persians because they don't want the Persians opening up a restaurant next to the lesbian bar. And then so they're like. They said how to settle everything where they're like, we're going to scissor. And then so him and Xerxes from 300 scissor each other. And like, oh my God, we're scissoring each other. Ah! Like,
drugs are bad, okay? But
that's South Park for you.
Drugs are bad, okay?
Okay. But
okay.
Jacob, what do you got coming up?
On Ryan's channel called Talking Park, where we talk all South Park channel.
Park Talk.
But I got a Twister review, and that's about I got Twister review, Smalltalk, and we're doing the Deadpool spoiler review. So that's about it.
All right, Matt, what about you?
Well, by the time you already watch this video right now for Tuesday, my non-spoiler review will be up on my channel. My rest of my Road to Deadpool Wolverine, like Deadpool 2, Logan, X-Men Apocalypse, and so on and so forth. And yeah, by the time you watch this video as well, yeah, we're doing a spoiler discussion, and I'm excited. Cannot wait to get into that. So keep an eye open.
Yeah, looking forward to that as well. Thank you all so much for tuning in. For Anthony Bowens, represented by Jacob Collins, for Max Caster, for Matt Wyatt, I am Daddy Ass Ryan Cam. Always hold on to Smallville for truth, for justice, for the American way. We are the Ass Men. Good night.